This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to support this show. Get your ad-free and bonus episodes. And you are back from Seattle.
Yeah, I got back at 1 p.m. today, took a real dank nap, and didn't shower, and here I am.
And you now think it's 6 a.m., and it's the opposite.
You guys, it's Hemant's birthday, and I wouldn't have noticed it unless I looked at my phone and I had it in my calendar, and he would not have told me. He would have let this whole
No, don't worry.
by.
I want to spend my birthday skipping Survivor and doing this. Thanks.
Motherfucker, you bullied me into this. I want to do it tomorrow. Wait, before we get started, I just want to say I had the most amazing weekend, and big shout out to everybody who showed up to Snoqualmie for the meetup. It was so incredible. It was so much fun. Every person was kind and wonderful and generous. I do want to tell the greatest story that's ever happened to me. Unfortunately, I do forget the name of the guy who told me the story, but it doesn't matter because this gift will last me forever. He comes down about 20 minutes after the thing starts, and he was like, I'm sorry, a thing just happened to me and I need to tell you about it. I was like, great, love this energy. He said, I was walking around. Everyone was like, I forgot to look up what you look like. And so everybody had to identify me by my laugh. And he comes down and he says, I just somehow found a different Jessica with a podcast in this bar.
That's the most Washington State shit I've ever heard.
And spent 5 minutes like fangirling over her until they realized like, oh no, this isn't the right person.
What podcast does she do?
She does a local podcast about like the Pacific Northwest. After it was all over, I went up and...
That's way more interesting than ours.
I know, but I went up and talked to her and she couldn't have been sweeter. I gave her like unsolicited podcast advice because that's sort of the energy I bring to things. And like every time I thought about it, I couldn't breathe for laughing.
It's the whitest shit I've ever heard.
It was so fucking funny. And I was like, I can't believe you're still here. And he's like, I almost left. And I was like, I would have left. I would have been on the moon. That's the most embarrassing thing that could ever happen to me. But also the best story. It was such a gift to me.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to have it etched on my tombstone.
Love it.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Jessica, a podcast host. One of many.
Parentheses, not the correct one.
Right. Very nice.
Anyway, that's just one of the many great anecdotes I have from this week. My life will never be the same after that.
Excellent.
Okay, you start doing shit.
Sure. Let's start with the story from PRRI, the research organization. They just did a survey recently where they asked Americans how they feel about Christian nationalism. And you won't believe this.
Positive.
Republicans are fans.
Oh.
Overall.
I do love when they manage to surprise us every now and then.
So much. So the way they organized this is they categorized support for Christian nationalism as people who are rejectors of it. That would be us.
Oh, that's an odd.
Skeptics of it. Like, doesn't sound great, but I kind of like Christian values, so okay.
Sure.
People who had no idea what we were talking about.
Oh, boy.
Then there were the
people.
sympathizers who are like, well, it sounds pretty good on paper. And then the adherents who really love it.
The J6 people.
So a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being like the most Christian nationalisty. And among Republicans, 56% of them are on the side of I'm an adherent or I'm a sympathizer. Like, I really like this shit.
Oh, that's more than I'm comfortable with.
56% of Republicans support Christian nationalism in that form.
Wow.
Yeah, like...
Wow.
Not like 56% of voters.
No. Human beings.
Nope, just 56% of Republicans. Among Democrats, it's 17%, which...
That's alarmingly high.
Is still high, but again, most Democrats will vote for, like, anybody.
Sure.
I get that. You're going to have small percentages of people who don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That tracks. I mean, there are 6% of Republicans who actively reject Christian nationalism.
Then what are they doing there?
What are they doing there? I don't know. But there you and the 5% of Democrats who are active supporters of Christian nationalism. What's going on? Some people don't know what they're doing.
I think 1 in 20 people, 1 in 20 Democrats is an active Christian nationalist.
What's the Gallup poll that's like 1/3 of people are creationists that believe?
Yeah,
and it's like, do they actually know what they're talking about?
No, maybe that's it. They're just like asked questions. They're like, well, I'm Christian and this is a nation, so I guess.
Yes, and I think there's some of that going on. But it's a sign that the GOP will just continue ignoring the Constitution and church-state separation because their voters want them to do it.
Right.
And I would also add that the same Republicans who say they support Christian nationalism, they have no problem ignoring the blatant rejection of those values by Republican political leaders, whether you're talking about Donald Trump or Ken Paxton. And that's before you get into anything Epstein related.
Christianity is kind of like jazz. It's about the values they don't have.
There you go. And so the percentage of Americans who support or reject Christian nationalism has been relatively steady for the past few years. But because it's a lot easier to live in your own reality bubble these days, we could see where the extremism is taking place. So like
geographically where?
No,
or
like where are they getting indoctrinated?
Oh, I see.
Far right news? Yeah, the people who watch Newsmax, Fox News, not Fox News, I should say. That gets its own category. The people who watch Newsmax and like even more far right shit. 34% are adherents.
Well,
and 31% are sympathizers. So we're talking 65% of the far right. That's all that I watch on my TV now. They're all into it. Among Fox News viewers, the supporters of Christian nationalism is at a 55%. And then people who listen to like radio, talk radio, that's roughly the same, 51%. Now,
radio and podcasts, are they the same thing?
No. Talk radio is
we're new media, baby.
Talk radio is very much a right-wing thing. So when car manufacturers say, no one listens to the radio, right? We don't need to put a radio in cars anymore.
Yeah.
Who gets mad about that?
Old white men.
Old white Republicans who are like, but then how will we...
That's who gets mad at everything.
How will we get mad about... How will we train people if they don't have the radio? Now, among YouTube and podcast viewers, it's a lot smaller. It's like 31%.
YouTube and podcast viewers? Well,
viewers, listeners, whatever.
Consumers.
And if you read a newspaper, because you read, you're the least likely to support Christian nationalism,
I guess
which
that
tracks. If you have the capability of handling words,
sure.
It's going to be a lot harder to get.
Have you ever been in a house that has the vibe of just having Fox News on all day?
No, I don't go out.
It's terrible. It's the world's worst vibe. It's so abrasive and aggressive. I'm not surprised they're all mad all the time.
And if you look at a map, what states are shows the most support for Christian nationalism?
Show the most support, I would say, typically we're going to say southeastern United States.
You would think Bible Belt for sure.
Bible Belt, like your Oklahoma's, maybe your...
Oklahoma's close.
Oh, you know what? What about like the upper, like my old stomping grounds? Like
the places where no one lives?
Well,
yes,
Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas.
So all of those places.
I'm just naming all of the states I can think of.
There you go. The white states, they all are in like the low 40s in terms of support for Christian nationalism, which makes sense because 4 people live in those states.
Sure.
And
I know 3 of them.
Arkansas, 54%. That's the highest. 54% of people in Arkansas are Christian nationalists, like through and through.
Isn't it weird that
Mississippi,
Bill Clinton
52.
Came from Arkansas? Sometimes that math doesn't math for me.
Years and years ago.
No, I understand it was different. It's just such a sea change for what we expect now.
West Virginia also 51%. What's the least Christian nationalisty state? Oh, by the way, Texas, 38%. It's not nearly as red as you would think, which maps with all the political numbers we've seen there too.
Okay, least
what's the
states? I gotta go with your classic Vermont.
No, believe it or not.
Really? Or is that
Vermont?
I guess there's rural country up there.
30%.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Way too high for comfort.
Illinois has too much of the...
15% is the answer, but what state? 15% support.
15% support it. It is not New York State. It's not New Hampshire, to be sure. Massachusetts?
Massachusetts.
Did I get it?
You got it.
Oh my God, I'm a genius.
What does that actually mean in terms of how these people vote?
Somebody count out how many states I guessed.
You named about 40 of them in the past minute. Now, what does this actually mean in terms of how they vote?
Yeah.
Well, if you support Christian nationalism, you are also someone who probably supports political violence if you believe it's necessary to save our country. Which is disturbing in part because if you're a Christian nationalist, you're very susceptible to bad argumentation.
Yeah.
So if you just find some white dude who will tell you we
What you
need
wanna
to do
hear?
something to fix the country, which was the entire State of the Union, you may very well be like, well, I guess I'll grab my gun.
We checked into a hotel near SeaTac last night.
You didn't watch the entire State of the Union?
And we turned on the TV and it only had cable, which is fine. And the fucking State of the Union was on. I was just like power scrolling. I was like, I'm not going to see this motherfucker's face. I'm still on island time. I'm still on vacation. You can't make me.
Didn't realize that was an option.
Yeah, Friends was on.
But yeah, like
And then Sister Act. I hadn't seen it in such a long time.
much better use of time.
Yes.
You didn't watch all 2 hours of that shit?
No, but I did remember that I learned a lot about Catholicism from Sister Act.
There you go. Like, it wouldn't take much to convince a Christian extremist that the country's being taken from him and that the enemies are brown people, immigrants, others. It's everything Trump said.
Yeah, because we've seen
in
it
the
a
State of the
billion times
Union, 'cause
before.
they know
We
who
saw
they are
Oklahoma
playing
City
to.
bombing. We saw it in fucking Waco, where it's just villain against villain. I don't know.
Yeah.
These
One
people
thing
just love to blow each other
One thing
up.
that was a little weird, the high numbers for supporters of Christian nationalism are actually slightly lower than when Joe Biden was president. Which means Donald Trump has actually...
They're a reactive people.
Yes,
they're a
they're
reactive
very
people and nothing
reactive.
else.
Yeah, so Donald Trump has calmed things in a way.
I would not grant him that kind
Another
of
one.
credit. Yeah.
Do you agree that President Trump is a, quote, strong leader who should be given the power he needs to restore America's greatness?
Does it mention his servant's heart?
Basically saying, should he be a dictator?
Restored to greatness.
Restored to greatness. 73% of Christian nationalists, like hardcore supporters, are like, yeah, you should let him be a dictator. Like, throw the Constitution under the bus to show how much we love America.
Island time is slipping through my fingers, Hemant.
Now, what do we take away from all
Also,
this?
I had to learn about the Mexico thing in a gift shop in downtown
The
Snoqualmie.
Mexico thing?
Apparently, fucking Puerto Vallarta is on fire.
No, that'll do it.
And this old woman was like, "Did you hear about Mexico?" And I was like, "No, I've been off the news." And she's like, "Good, I'll fucking tell you then. I'll break your buzz."
There was a whole scandal in the UK this week about their version of the Oscars because a guy a guy with Tourette's said a slur inadvertently, like he wasn't doing it on purpose, but it was a whole thing. And on my social media feeds, I'm like, this is what you call a scandal?
Oh my god!
Oh, you're adorable.
Which flavor slur? Like homophobic?
Not great.
Oh boy!
I'm just saying, like, that's what you got. Let me tell you what just happened in the past 12 minutes over here. I don't have time for your scandal. Yours wasn't even intentional.
Yeah.
You have fun dealing with that.
Wow.
Anyway.
Cool.
So what do we take away from all this? My argument would be that I think this puts a lot more pressure on Christian pastors who are losing their grips on their own congregations to figure out for themselves, are they more interested in preaching the message of Jesus, or are they going to decide we are just extensions of the GOP now? Because it can't be both. The messages are totally opposite each other.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to call out cruelty in the name of your faith, and it's not like you don't have opportunities to do it, then guess what? Your religion should be hijacked by political extremists because you're not defending it at all.
Yeah. This past week, I mentioned that this woman from my Montana days was driving from Walla Walla to Snoqualmie to hang out for a couple nights, and I was so nervous about it because she was like my OG Christian friend who, like, we had very honest talks about what we believed and why we believed it, and always came from a place of like love and respect. And she's not so Christian anymore as much because for literally this exact reason. She's like, this isn't what love looked like. This isn't how you lead with love.
James Tallarico talked about this during his censored interview with Colbert last week, where he basically said Christian nationalism isn't Christian in any way, whether or not you believe that interpretation. But like, you can be a person of faith who opposes what ignorant bigots do in the name of your God. And unfortunately, not enough pastors are willing to admit that.
Like, just because you both have Christian written on your shirt doesn't mean you play for the same team.
Yeah.
Like, you have different values and you need to make sure you're delineating them, because otherwise we all think all of you are bad.
Other people will delineate it for you. And the irony is that America is now more diverse, less religious than ever before, which is why you see Christian nationalists desperately clinging to power however they can. And you know, the Constitution's pretty unambiguous when it comes to religion and politics. And so that's what you're fighting against here.
That's rough. That's no good.
I think I will stop there with that story for now. There's more to talk about in a bit. But before we go on, let me give a shout out to our sponsor one last time here. I'm thrilled to announce that we do have a sponsor for the show, and it's a group I have relied on for so many years, the Pew Research Center. And the thing they do that I love the most, as someone who loves religion and statistics, is the religious landscape study, which Pew has been conducting for nearly 20 years. With responses from over 35,000 Americans across all 50 states, the Religious Landscape Study is a comprehensive look at faith, beliefs, and identity in our lives and our country. It's the largest single survey Pew Research Center conducts, aiming to provide authoritative information on the size and characteristics of U.S. religious groups because the U.S. Census Bureau doesn't collect any of that information. On the Religious Landscape Study's interactive website, you can find survey data and group it by metro area, state, region, or for the whole United States. You can also explore the social and political views and demographic traits of U.S. religious groups. Pew Research Center conducts high-quality research to inform the public, journalists, and leaders about the issues, attitudes, and trends shaping our world. Studying trends in U.S. religion is a key part of the center's long-standing research agenda. To learn more about the Religious Landscape Study and dive into the data yourself, visit pewresearch.org/RLS. And we appreciate their support for the show.
Yeah, guys, if you want to support us, go ahead and use that link. That's helpful for us. We like pairing with these folks. They do good work.
Absolutely. And with that, let me jump to this bill that's coming out of Tennessee, which is wild. Okay, Tennessee Republicans.
Yeah.
They're advancing a bill that would require public schools to teach the Bible as objective history while also forcing them to set aside time during the day for students to pray.
All right, Tennessee. That's actually a new one. I feel like they've been doing a lot of copy pasting lately out of Project 2025. This one feels fresh.
Yeah. This was filed actually earlier this year by State Representative Gino Bulso, and he calls it the Protecting Religious Liberty and Expression in Public Schools Act.
You know what's very interesting about this is when I was in high school, we had a pretty big Muslim population during Ramadan. Kids were scrambling left, right, and center to try to find an appropriate place to pray during the day. And nobody really seemed that concerned to designate a special area for these people during the important time of the year. But we're going to go ahead and every day, 20 minutes of silence, because that's what kids love to do, sit in silence.
And if you read this bill, it begins by offering up a string of lies about the history of church-state separation.
Oh, I loved that.
It says that the, quote, nativists who promoted the, quote, so-called separation of church and state only did it because they were, quote, deeply prejudiced against ecclesiastical organizations, and especially the Catholic Church. That's why church-state separation exists. It's because the nativists hated Catholics.
No, that's where the KKK comes from.
That too. It then says public schools can't enforce church-state separation unless the courts, like the Supreme Court or a judge, has directly said you're not allowed to do a thing. So you're not allowed to make any decisions yourself based on what you think constitutes church-state separation. Unless a judge has said you're not allowed to do this exact thing, you got to let it slide.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
So this means, let's say you're a principal. You learn that the school's football team has a chaplain or a coach who leads prayers in the locker room before games. Mm-hmm. There's no Supreme Court ruling on that. It is implied that that's not allowed because you're directly coercing kids to pray. That's even different from the dude in Washington State who kneeled at midfield after games by himself.
Oh, yeah, I was just near where that happened. It was really an honor.
So there's no legal ruling, but every judge, every time that's been an issue, judges have basically said, yeah, you can't do that. Or the schools have said, yeah, that's a violation. We're going to stop doing that. This law, if passed, would not allow a principal to make any sort of decision about that because no court's ruled on it, so you got to let it slide.
This feels so deeply and fundamentally unenforceable.
Yep, it's basically this bill in Tennessee would be handing a blank check to Christians who want to target kids for religious conversion.
I don't like the word target kids, but I guess it's correct.
It's accurate.
I know.
The bill also attacks the Supreme Court's ruling in a 1947 decision that basically In 1947, Everson v. Board of Education, a 5-4 split court, they ruled there was a New Jersey law that reimbursed parents for sending their kids to school on buses. And the Supreme Court said that's legal even if those kids attend Catholic schools, because they said we're going to reimburse everybody.
Okay.
And at the time, writing for that decision, writing for that majority, a Justice Hugo Black, he said the Establishment Clause was intended to erect a wall of separation between church and state. That's kind of where that phrase comes from. And this bill says, hey, remember when he said that? Yeah, well, he was a former Klansman. Which, by the way, it's
How is this your argument?
Yeah. They're like, so who cares what he said? The guy who promoted church-state separation back in the day, he belonged to the Klan.
Well, like,
which is
3 guys on the current Supreme Court have probably assaulted people. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
And the founding fathers were slave owners.
Yeah, dog. It does suck that really terrible men keep rising to power. Thank you so much for agreeing with me. I do think that being racist and a piece of shit should be disqualified. And I do think if you are sitting in a hearing and when somebody says, did you rape this woman? And he screams, I like beer.
I'll be honest, I have no idea where you're going with this anymore.
I'm just saying that, like, if they're going to acknowledge that we should disregard the opinions of terrible men in power, then I'm fucking all for it.
There you go. And then later in the bill, finally on page 7, when they actually get to the substance of the bill and not just the whereas clauses that are like, why are we doing this?
Okay.
Yeah. It says all public schools in Tennessee must teach the Bible as literature. Mind you, in Texas.
As literature.
Yeah. Like in some states, there's an elective class offered if there's interest. But even in, I believe, Texas, where that sort of class is allowed to be taught, if there's interest, like no one takes it. But anyway,
wait, I want to take issue with something because you said it has to be taught as literature. That's not the same as being taught as fact.
Right.
Like I read The Great Gatsby. They were like, there wasn't actually a Great Gatsby. So when you said they're requiring people to teach the Bible as fact, I think that was a misrepresentation of their goal.
I don't know what we're talking about.
They know. They listen to me when I talk.
I ignored you. You're right.
Yeah.
So it says public schools have to offer a class where you teach the Bible as literature, and they have to offer age-appropriate instruction on the history of Israel, the stories and the moral and ethical teachings of the Old and New Testaments, the life of Jesus, the history of the early Christian church, and the Bible's influence on Western civilization.
So are they going to connect that stuff to what's going on in the present day?
I mean,
Israel
if teachers choose to, sure, why not?
Wow, that sounds like a good use of their time. But it's not going to be on standardized tests, I assume.
It could be if it's required teaching.
Christ on a fucking crutch.
We've already seen this, like, what are the moral and ethical teachings? If you want to pretend the golden rule is the teaching that Jesus promoted, don't pretend that that's a Bible original. It's not. So this idea that we got to teach the moral and ethical teachings, like we're picking and choosing which teachings to go off of. Now, many school districts in Tennessee, 42 of them specifically, already offer Bible as literature classes as electives. They already have them. They're legal as long as they are taught objectively.
But they're not required.
This bill would force every district to expend resources even if no one wants to take the classes.
Reading, writing, religion.
There you go. 3 R's. Yes. And the bill includes some caveats that, of course, the Bible must not be taught as religious dogma, and there can't be any proselytizing, and you can't violate the Establishment Clause.
That feels like they're writing that with a wink.
Yeah. But when you've already declared that the life of Jesus is factual, you're already advancing religion while pretending it's secular. And if the classes are required, it raises a question of what are kids who are excused, which they're allowed to do.
Well, they'd love
what
to
are they
going to
do during that time?
Like, can Muslims just sort of peace out of there for a little bit?
Yeah, with parent permission. Okay. But then where are they supposed to go? Are they just supposed to sit around and do nothing?
Yeah, where the fuck do the Christian kids go when they learn about sex? My dog is about to come in the house. I'm going to see her for the first time in a week, and I'm going to remain a consummate professional.
There you go.
Here we go.
And the bill says that every school has to set aside a designated period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious text.
Has to be religious,
every day.
Every day.
Every day you got to set aside some time.
So I'm sorry, 4th graders are going to be like, okay, here's Ecclesiastes.
Yep.
Is that a book?
Sure.
Great. Good job, Jess.
Parents would have to sign a form saying they understand this is optional and that they will not sue over it.
Oh, well,
which is a weird... The bill says this.
Sorry, imagine my mom signed my permission slip for the Shed Aquarium, and it's like, if she drowns, you cannot sue us.
Which is the thing, like, you're basically saying, are you okay with your kid participating in this? I'm sure some parents are like, yeah, sure, whatever. But also, if we do anything illegal, you're not going to sue us, right?
Hi, Daddy.
There we go.
There's my angel.
By the way, Tennessee already requires schools to have a 1-minute moment of silence every day. Already, they have time to pray. That's apparently not good enough for them. They need to have more time to pray and read the Bible.
Uh-huh.
And the bill says it could happen before regular school hours, but even if it's voluntary, you can already imagine the social pressure on kids participating even if they don't want to.
Oh my God, totally.
And it's totally useless since students can already read the Bible during free time whenever they want. No one was ever stopping them. You know why they don't do it?
Because it's stupid and a boring book.
Yeah, it is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe if it's an extreme teen Bible, that could be cool for the kids these days.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The bill also includes a provision about lawsuits involving church-state separation.
That can't be a good sign for a bill.
Uh-huh. It would prevent people from suing even if they thought their civil rights were being violated. That provision would basically say, if you sue this district for violating church-state separation, even if you lose or anything like that, you would have to pay the other side's legal fees. Which some courts, a lot of these cases, they settle out of court or something like that. But if your case is dismissed by the judge, or they're like, I don't think your lawsuit's strong enough, so I'm not weighing in on this.
You have to pay for
you and your lawyer may still have to pay for the other side's legal fees, which is another way of saying don't sue. We're going to bankrupt you if you do.
Is that legal?
Even if the state wasn't asking you to pay those legal fees, they have 3 years to sue to recover those costs.
Okay. So this sounds pretty good so far.
My favorite thing about this entire thing.
Yeah.
The guy who's sponsoring it, you know what else he's known for? This Bolso guy?
Tell me.
Defending marriage between first cousins in Tennessee.
Oh, good for him.
There was a bill
really
to ban
on the
it,
right side of
and
history.
he's like, no.
I heard something interesting of you should keep an eye out for states where they have you can't marry somebody younger than 14, because the states that have those laws means they had to make that law because people wouldn't stop marrying 14-year-olds. Yep. And so anyway, that's just something worth keeping in mind. But you know what? Good for him for standing up for cousins' rights.
Oh, yeah. This guy also defended the bill.
The defining battle of our generation.
Very much. This guy defended his bill by saying, ever since prayers have been removed from schools, I think you could see the social decline that we've had. He cited the abortion rate, a falling marriage rate, and an increased divorce rate, saying such social ills did not exist when children were permitted to pray in school.
I do love the boldness with which they declare things good or bad, of oh my God, declining marriage, what are we gonna do? Whereas it's yeah, but can you look up spousal abuse rates?
Right.
Or can you look up
abortions occurred before 1962.
Right.
They just were not always safe.
And a lot of the women
were forced
died.
to stay in unhappy, unhealthy marriages before no-fault divorces were legal nationwide. But apparently, giving them the option to leave those relationships is a problem.
Yeah.
Now, a nearly identical bill to this one was passed in Texas last year, some version of this. Over 160 faith leaders signed an open letter this month saying that law is just threatening to, quote, drive a wedge into public school communities and create unnecessary administrative burdens.
Yes, correct.
But for now, this Tennessee bill is sitting with the House Judiciary Committee in that state.
Do you see this as something that they are doing to try to tie up funds and effort? You know what I mean? Keep them scrambling so they don't have time to do any good education shit? Or is it just Bible good?
Bible good.
Cool.
I think it's just we're in power, so what are we going to do? Help people?
All of our
no.
dumb shit,
Let's just do a bunch of Christian nationalist dumb shit and impose our will upon everybody.
And again, people died.
And it's Tennessee.
Froze to death
by
in their
and large,
houses in
the
Texas.
voters there do not care. Republicans know it, so they can get away with this stuff.
Man, oh man, what a nightmare.
This guy Bolso, he also made headlines recently for a bill that would allow private companies and people including hospitals, banks, and restaurants, to deny the legitimacy of same-sex marriages.
I'm sorry, what restaurant am I going to?
Allowing them to discriminate against gay people. So he's basically supporting a bill saying if you own a restaurant and you say we don't serve gays in here, they would be allowed to get away with it.
You are not welcome in this Benihana.
Yeah.
This is against God.
So that's what this guy's up to.
Man, this is a TGI Fridays. You and your spouse cannot hold hands. Oh, these dum-dums.
Yep. All right. Entirely different story here.
That's fine.
Let's go to Louisiana. We got an update in a 10 Commandments case this week.
Okay.
And this is frustrating and annoying. Here's where we're at right now. Okay. We know there are lawsuits. We know that several states, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, passed laws to put the 10 Commandments in public schools. Every judge who's looked at this has said it's illegal. And then they've been appealed. We're waiting on some decisions. But a previous lawsuit to block Louisiana's 10 Commandments law, I mean, the judge even said the law is plainly unconstitutional. And then the full Fifth Circuit conservative court was like, wait. We don't like our three colleagues over here who said no to you guys. So we're all going to listen to this.
Wait, the judges themselves can do that?
Yes. And the full Fifth Circuit just decided 12-6 to overturn their colleagues' decision. And here's what they're saying, though. What they're saying is, the short answer of this is, the judges who said this law was illegal, you did it before school started this school year.
Oh, right? Yeah, we've heard this argument before, right?
And the judge said, yeah, I'm going to rule on this now, partly because I got to rule on it before school starts, and you got to put up these signs. So I'm saying don't do it. And they'll issue a full ruling later.
Yeah.
But basically what the judge has said is it's illegal. We know exactly what the posters are going to look like because the law specifies it.
Right.
We know it's illegal because I already see what the law says.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying it's unconstitutional.
Is there a thing like, yeah, but nobody's been hurt yet?
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's what the full Fifth Circuit just said. They said, we need to wait and see what the posters look like before anybody can sue, quote, because we do not yet know and cannot yet know how the text will be used. Basically saying all these families that are suing over the 10 Commandments, they haven't seen it in the classroom yet.
What are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Like, these motherfuckers. Like, we're going to wait and make sure this shakes out exactly how we expect it to shake out, and then we'll decide that nobody's been hurt.
Which is ridiculous because the judge earlier said, I don't need to wait. They told us what the posters need to look like. Do you remember?
Get away with this?
Attorney General Liz Murrill in Louisiana held a press conference where she showed examples. She's like, look at how it's legal. Here's a sign with Lin-Manuel Miranda's 10 dual commandments.
This is the funniest thing that's ever happened to anybody besides that story about fake deaths.
Showed a picture of the 10 commandments and next to a picture of the 10 dual commandments from Hamilton. She's like, see? You could do this.
It's called
it would be legal.
history. Ever heard of it?
My favorite was that she put up a poster of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And then a quote from when she was like 3.
Yep. Beating me to the punch here. Put up a picture of Ruth Bader Ginsburg saying, since the beginning of time, the world has known 4 great documents. Great, because of all the benefits to humanity, which came about as a result of their fine ideals and principles, one of them being the 10 Commandments. And yes, she wrote that when she was like 8. 8th grade, I should say.
Oh my God, these people, and they have no moral center. They have absolutely none.
And so so what's going to happen? Here's what happens from this point on. This
more suing
decision basically gives public schools now a chance to put up the 10 Commandments posters because the law requires them to do it. And as soon as one of them does it, a family can say, okay, well, now we're suing. What's your lawsuit going to say? Copy paste the one we did earlier.
But now
that's it. It's the same thing. And the judge who's going to see that case again, it's probably the same one, is going to be like, yeah, what I said last time because I was right. So
they're only delaying
it.
Why?
All this does is allow the 10 Commandments to go up a bit. It delays for I don't know, a good year. The distance between a judge saying it's unconstitutional and illegal and the time to which the Fifth Circuit can be like, well, I guess now we have to rule on the merits of the case. And guess what? We're saying it's fine.
Oh, God.
That's where we think they're going with it. It's the Fifth Circuit. It's very conservative. So instead of ruling on the merits, they're like, well, we're going to rule on it's not ready to come to us yet. So, hey, districts, go put up your posters and then we'll get around to it eventually.
I kind of miss when they used to at least pretend to be doing their job correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least they used to put some effort into like keeping up a facade. Now they're just like,
There's no facade
I hate
now.
this.
What the church-state separation groups that filed this lawsuit to begin with said is the ruling is extremely disappointing and would, if left in place, unnecessarily force Louisiana's public school families into a game of constitutional whack-a-mole
Yes.
in every school district where they must challenge each individual school district's displays. They said we are looking at all legal pathways to proceed. Like, they're not disappointed because they lost. They're disappointed because the conservative court is making them jump over stupid hurdles in order to say all the same shit they've already said. The Louisiana judge who said this was unconstitutional wrote a very lengthy ruling as to why it was illegal. Very specific and well thought out. And there was no room for anything else in there. Like, there's no argument he was missing.
Right.
But now they're like, well, you haven't seen the poster. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, oh my God, it's so obnoxious.
By the way, there's a separate challenge against the Texas Ten Commandments law, which is also in front of the same Fifth Circuit. They haven't ruled on that one yet. That's a separate case.
I don't know how class action lawsuits work. Is this that?
No.
Okay.
So, one of the judges for the Fifth Circuit, and a very arch-conservative short list for Donald Trump for the Supreme Court, his name is James Ho, he wrote that he would just allow the law to be in place. Like, I don't know why we're waiting. I would say it's fine to put the Ten Commandments up. Why? Because he says promoting Christianity in schools is perfectly legal. What's wrong with that?
The Constitution is wrong with that.
Sorry, he's a Trump judge.
The First Amendment
does not matter what the Constitution says.
This country is bad.
Uh-huh.
This is a bad country.
Yeah, and
I
then
think
he
we should
used
start over.
in his concurrence, he's like, I agree with the decision of my colleagues, but I would just go ahead and say we're fine anyway.
I would go a step further.
In that decision, he said, I know it's legal to promote Christianity and not other religions because Christianity is part of the foundation of our country. And in the midst of saying that, he lists things like it was used in the New England Primer and the McGuffey's Readers and Noah Webster's American Spelling Book, like old school textbooks. The thing is,
if they bring up the
judge in
Press.
Louisiana who said it was illegal already said, you guys brought this stuff up and none of it makes any sense. And then he laid out why none of those are good arguments for it. And this higher up judge is like, I have an idea for you. Why don't you look at this? Meanwhile, lower court judge here is like, I did.
Yeah.
None of these people are listening to anybody else.
I bet their group dinners are so awkward now.
Oh, yeah. Governor Jeff Landry of Louisiana chimed in saying, yeah, common sense is making a comeback.
I wonder how often these people actually read the Bible themselves.
Oh, they don't. It's just a prop. Common sense would be allowing teachers to do their jobs and not becoming state-sponsored preachers. Murrill, the Attorney General, she chimed in too. She was very excited.
Sure, this is a big day for her.
And this is how she responded. Don't kill or steal should not be controversial. As if that's what everyone has a problem with the Ten Commandments.
I hate these people. They're so fucking stupid. Did I tell you this story when what was the thing that the guy said of like, if a kid walked in and shot somebody, we would send him to jail. So the Ten Commandments. And I tried to explain that logic to Mikey and he didn't get it. And we almost got in a fight about it because I was so mad that I was like, no, you don't understand. It doesn't make sense. But you're trying to make sense. Stop making sense.
You're using logic in a place that doesn't belong.
No good. No good.
So that's where we're at with the Ten Commandments.
Cool. I'm really glad this is a good use of everybody's time and money.
Here's another.
This must come down from like the people who benefit. Like it's a very cui bono situation. Like, is this just like the conservative people trying to sue left, right, and center so they can fill their coffers with donations? Like, that's what it feels like. Like, keep shit tied up in the courts.
I really do think this is what they think is the best use of their time. They're not going after like Jeffrey Epstein stuff. They're not going after actual crimes. So like this is what they think the best use of their time. Oh my God,
the Prince Andrew picture. Holy shit. It's great. The funniest thing I saw the best video about like someone being like, sir, you can like sit up like a human. The guy's like, no, this is great. And it was, wow, what a time to be alive.
Great stuff. We're going back to Tennessee. There's another bill. Now, here's the good news. This bill appears to be dead. Maybe.
All right.
But we still have to talk about it.
We hardly knew
it was proposed. And it's a weird way they're trying to do it, too. This is a bill. In 2018, lawmakers in Tennessee, Republicans in Tennessee, passed a bill to install a memorial for unborn children outside the state capitol.
Jesus Christ.
This is not the point of the story. This is a side note. But it took them until now to actually find the funding, the private funding, to have that memorial.
Oh, yeah? That's not a huge fundraising opportunity?
But anyway, that monument's going to be unveiled this summer. And there's a new bill that says the State Capitol Commission, which takes care of like the building and the grounds, they have to take care of the monument once it's up. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, not controversial bill now at this point. Okay, whatever. So a couple of Republicans decided to make an amendment to that bill where they said, oh, hey, that's kind of about abortion. Just cross out the substance of your bill. We're going to basically replace it with all this shit we want in. I don't know why they didn't just file their own separate bill and used it as an amendment on this one.
Like they're no switcherooski?
But this one, which was proposed by a Tennessee Representative Jody Barrett, here's what he wants to do. His amendment would allow prosecutors to charge women who have abortions with fetal homicide. And that would be punishable because if you commit homicide, it's punishable by life in prison, life without parole, maybe the death penalty.
This is when I would normally insert a rant of all of us since 2016 who have been trying to ring this fucking bell, who've been waving this flag. They're coming for us. They're coming for our rights. They're coming for your neighbors. And honestly, to those of you who told me I was crazy, go absolutely fuck yourself, because we've seen this coming for years, and you guys were so annoyed by us being scared that you chose to ignore the threats. That's the reality of what happened.
Yeah, but I didn't like her laugh, so I didn't.
Oh my fucking Christ.
So this would classify harm done to an unborn child as equal to assault on a person born alive.
Do you know the number one cause of death for pregnant people?
Men.
Murder. It's literally murder. It's the number one cause of death for people who are pregnant. So I would just love to hear a couple stories of the people who murder whole human beings, whether they're pregnant or not. Love to see them be held to account before I see people who either will die if they carry the pregnancy, whether because it's a health reason or because their partner will beat the shit out of them until they do die. Or what? Just give birth and then live in poverty for the rest of your life because literally nobody and nothing is around to help you. And if you have no support system, go fucking kill yourself. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with this?
So don't worry.
These motherfuckers.
He added a part to his bill that's specifically for you. He wants to say that the state-sanctioned murder that he's supporting here, it doesn't apply to a spontaneous miscarriage.
Oh, so brave.
Or the unintentional death of an unborn child after
like if
undertaking life-saving procedures. So if you needed like an emergency measure or something and your baby died, well, that doesn't count. To save the life of the mother or something, to save the life of a child if the fetus dies in that process.
Wow, that's
okay.
so generous.
But also, don't worry.
Oh, God. I'm already worried. Stop telling me not to worry.
The state-sanctioned murder is not going to apply retroactively, so they can't go back in time to like last year and figure out who had an abortion so they can murder you. It only applies from the date of this bill's passage moving forward.
But when they say spontaneous miscarriage, what if my vibes were bad? And then that's my fault for miscarrying.
Well, then you got to die.
Like, would I have to, when I miscarried on Thanksgiving Day 2020, a really fun time for everybody involved, would then I have to go to the police and turn myself in? Is that the... Like, I didn't go to a hospital.
Well, maybe they'll spare you the death sentence then. If you did that, save them some time.
I don't think I'm the kind of person they're looking to spare,
Now, if you
frankly.
think this is so extreme, no one could possibly get behind this, who supported it? None other than Clint Presley, who is the president of the Southern Baptist Convention right now, which is the largest Protestant denomination in the country. Here's what he wrote. I am glad to support this bill and the companion bill in the Senate. 2 bills in the Tennessee legislature that would protect every preborn child in Tennessee from abortion by providing preborn children with equal protection of the laws.
Do you know... ...
Tennessee now has an opportunity to set an example of how states can protect the sanctity of human life from conception to natural death. ... It's both pro-life and consistent. It's pro-life. It's pro-life, he says, to murder women who have abortions.
Okay.
Women he will never have to think about.
That's fine.
Who he has no idea why they're ending their pregnancies.
What if they already have existing children? What happens to those kids?
Oh, if they are murdered?
Yeah, if they murder the parents of these children because they had like an abortion or a miscarriage.
Sure nice Christian
what happens to the 4 children
up the other children
being left at home with no parent?
Well, if she homeschooled them the right way, they'll be self-sufficient.
Oh, yeah. See? Those homesteaders really come in handy when you have to be raised by your 6-year-old sister.
Yep. And, there was a time when even anti-abortion zealots avoided going after women who have abortions.
Well,
they would go after
time, Hammond.
I know. They knew it was a bad look. They were like, yeah, go after like the doctors. That's a better look. Don't go after the women, though. Remember Donald Trump in 2015 or 16?
There should be some kind of
he
punishment.
said there should be some kind of punishment, and that was a bad thing for him to say. He didn't get the memo. You're not supposed to say that out loud.
How times have changed. I remember standing in your old townhouse when we first were recording this, and I saw that press conference play as we sat down to record so long ago. Sweet, innocent summer children. No, I don't expect you to. Yes. I'm doing all the emotional heavy lifting here.
So, when they asked him about this bill, Jody Barrett, his only defense is, you guys, executing women is really unlikely, even with the bill that I wrote that says executing women is an option.
So why,
Here's what he said. I'm quoting here. A simple examination of the death penalty in Tennessee would show that that's just not realistic. Now, do I have to admit that the death penalty is a possibility? Sure. But since the death penalty was reinstated in Tennessee in 1977, there's been less than 200 people sentenced to death, and only 16 have actually been executed. None of them women.
Weird brag.
Very weird brag. So it's a weird way of saying he wants to expand the death penalty so more women are eligible to be murdered because they had the crime of not wanting to give birth to like their rapist babies.
I just love that they're like, yeah, we can't help but notice that everybody who commits terrible, heinous, violent crimes are men. Definitely nothing wrong with the men, though. Let's go after the women. Nothing to see here, folks. Nope. It's really cool for a guy to annihilate his whole family because he lost his job and he's afraid. Yep. That's great. No notes, men.
Another supporter of this bill is Monty Fritz, who's a Republican running for governor. As a Republican, he's repeatedly expressed support for imposing the death penalty on women. The state of hell. Tennessee. Now,
cool.
If there's silver lining to any of this, it's that the Senate sponsor of this bill, Mark Pody, who is a Christian nationalist through and through, he has said, I'm going to withdraw the bill from my end because it doesn't look like I have any support or enough support from Republicans in the Senate. Because even they don't want to campaign on let's murder
women. Yeah, that's not a great
he didn't say
white women. They certainly don't want those murdered.
He basically said there's just no way it's going to pass. He's not withdrawing the bill because he doesn't like it. He's withdrawing it because what he doesn't want to do is bring it up and have it get voted down. So he said...
Is there any consequence for that besides just shame?
Embarrassment.
Okay, so it's not like it's ineligible or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
What he said is it's very easy to see. Yeah, it's very easy to see I don't have the votes in the Senate, so there's no sense in running it.
I guess.
So, yay, there are only some Republican lawmakers in Tennessee who support executing women for not wanting to have their uncle's baby or something.
Gang, use that statistic as often as you can. The number one cause of death of pregnant people is murder. I just don't know. I cannot think of a better example of the violence that this country is willing to enact on women and people who can get pregnant. It's nonstop.
And then they were like, so Jody Barrett, the guy who's still on board with this, you still see no problem.
Bud?
You still have no problem with the murdering women thing.
Yeah.
He said he's not trying to have women sentenced to death.
I just want the option to be on the table to scare them.
Here's the quote. It's not singling out women. It's saying that anybody that kills a child in the womb would be subject to criminal penalty.
Oh my God. And now he's pro-trans.
Yeah.
They figure it's horseshoe theory again.
There you go. I mean, he's going after the doctors too, but he's like, I'm not just going after the women here.
Oh no.
So
I've heard men can get pregnant.
This is all happening in a state that already prosecutes doctors who assist with abortions. They face up to 15 years behind bars.
Well, and
it's also a felony to help someone travel to another state to have the procedure done, just as it's a crime in Tennessee for companies to fulfill orders for abortion pills via mail.
Well, and I want to zoom out a little bit on this, too, because obviously all this shit is terrible, and I think I've made my stance on it extremely clear. But the larger problem is that with restrictive laws like this, you're going to get yourself an old-fashioned brain drain. And so people who want to do reproductive medicine, OBGYN stuff, or even just practice medicine in like an emergency situation or something like that, they're not going to fucking go to Tennessee
no. And remember,
where you might get murdered for doing your job.
And Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill that the Republicans passed, that one shut down how many rural hospitals, took away money from states across the country in places where they already have a hard time finding doctors.
I do a lot of the work I transcribe is about rural medicine, and boy, oh boy, gang, these people, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing to them? Why? These are their voters. Rural America is like their bread and butter.
Yeah, but they won't notice until they're on their deathbed. So,
oh well, and they probably won't change their mind because they think God gave them cancer or whatever, instead of like preventative medicine or like the factory that you worked at with zero regulations that gave everybody around you cancer. But that's not the problem. The problem is immigrants.
Coal is clean. How dare you?
Yeah, so clean.
Anyway, the thing is, as you know, abortions are going to happen. Yeah. Anyway. The legislation's not going to stop abortion. It's going to drive the practice further underground, which only leads to more unsafe abortions. That's it.
The Black Dahlia story is almost certainly a story about a woman trying to attain an abortion, and she ended up desanguinated and cut in half and left on a road in a neighborhood. So is that what we're going to get back to? Because we haven't had a really fun murder mystery in a while, haven't?
I'll get to that one next week.
Fuck you.
The right-wing extremists would rather see women suffer than give them any control over their bodies. They don't care if she's not ready to have a baby or if she's pregnant due to assault or incest. Like, there's no room in their tiny brains for that kind of compassion or thoughtfulness or anything. And like, Tennessee Republicans deserve no credit for pulling this bill because they don't have the votes for it, because they're the ones who are proposing it. Like, you don't get to claim you value life when the death penalty remains in your toolbox. This is true. There is a student, she's probably, I don't know how old she is, but a leader of an anti-abortion group posted something saying the death penalty is inconsistent with a pro-life worldview.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's in response to this bill, to which Dale Partridge, a Christian nationalist preacher, chimes back, this is exactly why women must not lead in the moral cultural war.
Huh.
Let them fight.
I had a mild disagreement with my friend Susan about my opinion that like these kind of men are the ones who are like, who keep a bunch of guns around their house and are just like waiting for the opportunity to get to murder somebody in a righteous way. She disagreed with my assessment, but to me, this kind of verbiage is exactly what that means. I believe that in the deepest part of my heart that there are a lot of people, mostly men.
He's definitely one of those.
Definitely dudes. One of them, because just the way people talk about how like the sparkle in their eye of like, if somebody breaks into your house, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, there's nothing in my terrible house that's worth fucking anything like somebody's life. Take anything. Right. I don't want to murder somebody.
You would think most Americans, even the ones who oppose abortion, would recognize that murdering women for having abortions is barbaric. And like, I think a lot of this is a turnoff even to a lot of Republicans. Like, and that's what I don't get about this bill. Republicans are pursuing these extreme pieces of legislation.
But they're not popular.
They're not popular, and they risk alienating a lot of people in their own base, including suburban women, younger voters, anyone who understands that medical decisions should not carry the risk of state-sponsored execution. And like, if you want to know if abortions are still going to happen, even if everything says you're not allowed to have it, go talk to a pastor's wife or daughter.
I would like to tell an anecdote before we move on that I think kindly illustrates this sort of point of view. So my friends, I was having the time of my life. I'm in a hotel casino. I'm reading a book, drinking a glass of wine. It's all I ever want to be doing. Mikey had gone to bed. A man next to me playing video poker offered to buy me a drink. And I was like, oh, thank you. Just so you know, I'm married. Just to like protect myself, frankly. And he was like, well, why does that matter? And we kind of chatted. And I was like, I don't know, because sometimes when I tell men I just don't want to, they kind of sexually assault me anyway. He was like, what? Well, how did that happen? I was like, well, I brought a guy back to my room so we could watch a movie, and I told him I didn't want to have sex, and we proceeded to have sex. And he's like, well, you brought him in your bed. And I was like, yes, but I used the words, I don't want to have sex. I had roommates. I wanted to be alone with this guy I was dating. And he told me, I said, do you think because I brought a man into my room, I deserve to be raped? And he said, yes, I do. What did you expect to happen? And so, guys, the can I buy you a drink to you deserve to be raped pipeline is tight. They are maintaining that beautifully. And yes,
not to take away from that story, I cannot believe you have these conversations with strangers in casinos.
Have you met me? All I do is have conversations with strangers. It's what gives me life.
I know.
Honestly, this vibe here is my husband's vibe a lot. And to be fair, yeah, it should be. I'm the bad guy in this situation. But also, like...
all you had to do was give the machine money and not talk to anybody.
Well, he brought me a glass of wine. I didn't want him to, like, come for me. You know what I mean? People are weird. Obviously. And I was right. I gauged it correctly.
I agree.
Anyway, if anyone's wondering how men are doing, not great. Not great as a species, I don't think.
I got one last story for you.
Oh, good.
Kansas, they just passed a bill.
Kentucky.
That's last on the list.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see now.
You see, in Kansas, they just passed a bill that would make clergy members mandated reporters.
Yay!
Sounds good. If the bill becomes a law, we already have a lot of states where clergy members are mandated reporters, but what's the loophole?
Unless it's under the veil of confession.
Unless it's under the veil of confession. In Kansas, clergy members are not even listed as mandated reporters anywhere.
Why would they?
And so this bill
Nobody
says,
tells them secrets.
If this bill becomes a law, priests who learn about abuse against children, physical abuse, mental, emotional, sexual, they would have to report it to law enforcement authorities. But this bill in Kansas would include the confession loophole.
Good.
Which... yeah, I mean, that's how it works.
I like when
everywhere.
magic comes to play when we're making laws. Unless you have this magical spell cast on you, and then you have to keep all your secrets.
Like, it shouldn't be controversial to, first of all, it shouldn't be controversial to make them mandated reporters. And to be honest, no one is arguing about this. Even the Catholic Church is like, we don't have a problem with that law. The other thing this bill does is it requires all mandated reporters to go through a state-approved training run by the state in terms of like how you got to deal with this stuff. That's not controversial either. That's why the bill passed easily in the Republican-led House. Honestly, because they have the confession loophole in there and privileged communication is exempt.
What is privileged communication is too vague for me.
If someone told you they're being abused because you're a priest and they expect you to keep it a secret, which is what confession is, then you don't have to tell anybody.
Do you think the reason...
because that loophole is in there, Republicans didn't fight it, the Catholic Church didn't fight it, the Kansas Catholic Conference, they said we support the bill. They said we already have the reporting requirements in place before the bill passes. Like, we already do this stuff.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
There's no other shoe.
Oh.
It's that It's that, of course, they're not fighting it because it doesn't do the one thing we need it to do. That's how you know this bill is symbolic and has no teeth. Yeah. It's not requiring priests to do anything more than they're already doing, which is the bare minimum.
Cool.
And that means it's not as powerful as it could be. And the fact that privileged communication is exempted from this bill is absurd, because if you would rather protect priests than kids, then you got to admit safety of children is not your priority.
Do you know what I was just thinking, though? Is I don't think it's that they're placing priests over children. I think they are placing themselves over children, because my guess is that a lot of these people have confessed to some pretty heinous shit to their priests.
But the weird thing is, a bill like this, if you confess weird, heinous stuff to your priest that isn't involving kids.
But the people who are dragging their heels on this exemption is like, well, I told them that I did this terrible thing and I don't want to get in trouble. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. One Lutheran priest went on a local news station to talk about this bill, and he's like, he worried about this bare minimum bill. Why? He's like, if you're saying that if you tell a priest something, not in confession, just in general, if you tell a priest something about it, this bill might prevent potential abusers from talking to priests.
Yeah, that's the point.
And he said, I've spoken to I'm paraphrasing here. I've spoken to abusers in waiting through confession where they said, I have these thoughts. I want to harm somebody. And he said, I urged them to get therapy. And they did. See? But I didn't report them.
Because they didn't do anything.
Well, they didn't do anything at the time, right.
But if that same situation came in and I'm abusing my 3-year-old, is that also sacrosanct?
He would also be like, well, I guess that's a secret that's between us now.
And I urged him to get therapy.
He feared that this bill would be a slippery slope to ending the sanctity of confession.
Correct.
And he said his opponents, which are people who want to protect kids.
Me personally.
They were legislating a vendetta. The vendetta.
I love how protecting abused children is a vendetta, but murdering people who have had an abortion or a miscarriage is not vindictive?
Nope, not at all. That's called Christian love.
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
And look, the reason they didn't include the confession, the reason they didn't say, no, this applies to confession too, is because everywhere they've tried to do that, it's failed. The state of Washington last year had to agree to a settlement to exempt confession from a mandatory reporting bill. Yeah. Like the goal in Kansas, to be fair, it wasn't to create a perfect bill. It was to catch up to all the other states, which they didn't have. This is the 4th year a bill like this has been introduced. This time it looks like it's actually going to pass. For what it's worth, when the Judiciary Committee held a hearing on the bill just last month, they had personal statements from a few people. One of them came from Joe Charest, who I believe listens to this podcast.
Hi, Joe.
Who told the lawmakers that her grandfather was a church leader who abused her from the ages of 10 to 15. And during that time, she told a priest what was happening, but he didn't take any meaningful action to stop the abuse. And one of the things she said in her testimony, I'm quoting here, I tried going to our priest a few times during that time and nothing happened. Why should it? He wasn't a mandated reporter of abuse in the state of Kansas at the time. Had I known this, I wouldn't have gone to him. But I didn't know this.
How could she have known?
Right. And she added, Kansas is one of 10 states and territories in the U.S. that clergy are not listed as mandatory reporters of abuse. And she added, it's too late for me to have been able to benefit from the help this legislation would have afforded me at the time of my abuse, but it's not too late for others going forward.
Wow, that's really brave.
Yeah. And that's the bare minimum bill that just says priests are mandated reporters.
How old did you say she was?
How what?
How old did you say she was?
She was 10 to 15 when all this was happening.
15.
I don't know how old now.
How old? Like, she didn't know what to do. She did the best she could. Yes. Sweet girl.
But a bill like this would take it out of her hands, any kid's hands, and say, if a priest learns about this, you got to go to law enforcement.
She said her grandfather was a church leader who was abusing her.
And she told another priest.
Man.
Didn't help.
How can you pretend to have any kind of values? How can you pretend to have any kind of values if a child comes to you and says, not just some stranger, my grandfather, who is a member of this church or some church, he is hurting me. He's abusing me. Please help me. And saying to that child, like, sucks to suck, kid.
One of the
Lock
reasons
your door, I guess.
this bill's getting traction now.
Fuckers.
And I don't know how much of this to attribute to one local news station, but I think this has some legitimacy. KAKE TV.
Oh, yeah, that's in Wichita.
In Kansas. They aired 4 separate reports last summer about abuse suffered by over 20 children at Eastminster Presbyterian Church during the tenure of a former youth pastor there. And they spoke to lawmakers at the time about mandatory reporting and eliminating the statute of limitations, 2 things that survivors of that incident wanted to change.
Sure.
And they listed them as part of their demands. And so now it appears some of these lawmakers are acting on those demands. Now, the bill passed through the Kansas House pretty smoothly.
Good.
The state Senate in the past few years is where a bill like this has died. So that's where the hurdle's going to be. The bill hasn't been introduced in any committee there yet. I don't know why anyone would oppose this the way it's written, because again, it doesn't violate any sort of sanctity of confession or anything like that. But even if this bill is symbolic, it's still worthwhile. Like, mandatory reporting isn't radical. It's not anti-religious. It's the bare minimum. And like, teachers do it. Doctors, therapists, social workers, everyone is legally required to report abuse.
We're both mandated reporters.
Yep. Exempting clergy sends a chilling message that religious figures are apparently outside the moral and legal framework that the rest of us
I just don't think their brains work right anymore, because like, if your whole fucking thing is save the children, protect unborn babies, and then a child comes to you and says they're being hurt, and you're like, that's not my purview. You should go to no one with that.
So Kansas has allowed this loophole to exist by not including priests as mandated reporters, closing it even a bit. That is an acknowledgement that maybe we should try protecting the kids. Maybe.
Most controversial statement this podcast has ever said.
I mean, passing the bill won't erase the harm already done. No. Failing to pass it would guarantee that the next victims have to fend for themselves, because Republicans and priests don't care enough to protect them.
And it would tell the victims, the current survivors, that what happened to you, it's fine if it happens to other people. We're willing to take that risk. And I don't know. I think that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm going to stop there for now.
Okay.
And you have a lot to talk about.
I do
and
have
it's
a lot
scary.
of stories. Yeah. While I was coming over, I was afraid if I sat down on the couch, I'd fall asleep. So I just wrote a bunch of anecdotes that I have. They're numbered 1 through 13. And I'm going to let Hemant, as his birthday present, pick through and see if they can... see if
That's
we can
what we'll do for the bonus
anecdotes.
episode. You can go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to support this show. Please do it.
Yeah, we need your help.
We need your help. And you can leave a review on all the podcast apps. Jess is looking for one now.
Nothing new, but I do want to read a message from Sarah, who was very, very nice and brought me drugs, which made her very likable. But she did message me on Monday and said, "You helped me see that you don't have to be a jaded asshole to be an atheist." And I thought that was nice.
But that's like your whole shtick.
I'm not a jaded asshole. I care a lot. It's like my whole fucking, like, I'm fucking Leslie Knope. I care a lot. It's kind of my thing. I care so much. All I do is care.
Sorry, if I interrupt you at Applebee's, then...
I would never go to an Applebee's.
Oh, sorry.
They microwave their food. I go to Max and Irma's like an adult. Okay.
Well, we lost another sponsor, so go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast.
Okay, let's do this bonus. I can go back.
Bonus episode time.
Talk to you next week. Bye.